What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kasey, and I'm back again for another YouTube video. And this iPad means it's gonna be about the Lord. Okay. So we have our notes we've been studying, and I must admit that as of late, I have been pretty frustrated with God. And I kind of talked a little crunchy to him the other day, and I was just really questioning a lot of things in my life right now, yelling at him, demanding answers. And so I was like, Kasey, this means a couple of different things. And so I'm by no stretch of the imagination a preacher, prophet, teacher of the word. This is just my experience with the Lord, okay? And so I'm like, okay, why is it that when certain things are going good in certain areas of my life, other areas are falling apart? And I just be not understanding why that's the case, okay? Because the Lord, just let me just have all of it together at once. Please, please. And, I was really just asking him for clarity. Okay, I was yelling at him for clarity. And so I just want to let you know that if you are frustrated with the Lord, that's okay. I'm going to point you to some biblical stories that you have probably already heard of that lets you know that it's okay to be frustrated with the Lord, because I then felt bad about being frustrated with the Lord because, who am I to be frustrated with the Lord? But I'm also like, Jesus, I got some questions. Lord, I got some questions. And I just need to know what's tea. We're supposed to be locked in and ain't no switching up, but it seemed like you're switching up on me. But he's not. Anywho. So, of course, I feel like, one, God could just be making me uncomfortable, and that could be a real possibility. Two, the devil sees me making more content about the Lord and really trying to do this walk with him for real. And he is trying to throw other things at me to deter me from said walk with the Lord. Or three, I am bringing this upon myself, which it could also be a thing. Okay. So anyway, let's just get right into this video about why it is normal to be frustrated with God and kind of what I have somewhat done to feel less frustrated with the Lord in particular. Okay, not saying that I'm not taking ownership, because I should take ownership for the things that I've done to cause my life to be where it is. And at the same time, there are spiritual forces at play that are also causing me to be where I am as well. I feel like frustration, and I feel like my frustration in particular has looked so different. It has come in the forms of unanswered prayers. It has come in the form of suffering. It has also come in the form of it's kind of like my expectations are met, but it's 99%, not that 100% met. And so I'm just like, but where's the rest of it? And that could be a little selfish of me, but as my best friend, I feel like you can tell me what's the tea. And I don't really feel like, I know abandonment can be a part of this, but I feel like there are times where we claim that it's abandonment, and really we're either not listening to the Lord, or we are we're choosing not to listen to the Lord, or he is just like, I asked you to do this one other thing over here, and I can't give you the rest of your instructions until you do that. But we look at that as abandonment when that's really not abandonment, because the Bible even says that the Lord will never abandon you. Okay, hold on, let me get to my scripture. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to find the verse and I'll pop it up on the screen for you, because I don't know word for word, but it just says something along the lines of, has a mother forgotten a child who is still nursing to her breast? No. So why do you think I've forgotten about you is essentially what it says, but I'll have to find it and put it actually on the screen. And so I'm like, right, because yeah, I'm your child and I know you still take care of me. And so, okay, so you haven't forgotten me, but why do I feel forgotten? But I also feel like a lot of our feelings are misunderstood, and yeah, the way we're interpreting them towards the Lord is misunderstood. But that's not why we're here today. So yeah, I feel like that's the whole thing for abandonment. And I also feel like it's very important to recognize the fact that, during this faith journey, we will have moments of frustration. We will have moments of questioning. And I mean, look at all the people in the Bible who questioned God, and also look at his response. And so that's what I have kind of been doing for the past couple of days. And I mean, for the longest, I think it's so ironic for me to be talking about Job, because for the longest time I could not understand for the life of me, and sometimes I still struggle with why the Lord like just let so much bad stuff happen to Job. Like, I'm just very confused and very like, you know, yeah. So when you think about Job, I mean, he went through his kids dying, all of his livestock dying, and all of his fortune just goes to waste. His friends come and just continue to question him and say, "What have you done? That the Lord is now cursing you." And even his wife says, "Just curse God and die." And so then you see this back and forth with Job when he's just like, why? Like, wouldn't it be better for me to just myself, I mean, not like to be born like a stillborn, really, and to just not be alive? And you see him like asking God about this and why he was put on earth in the first place. And God's response, which I will say is pretty savage, but I still am just like, but that's not like even a real answer. Like logical me is just like, but that's not a real answer. Like when he's just like, once you can hang the stars in the sky and place the planets in orbit and bring, animals, create animals and create, yourself, then you can ask me questions. But it's just like God, like I know that, like I get that you are Lord. I'm not trying to discredit that. I just want to know why. You see what I'm saying? Like, and why can't you just give me the answer? Yeah, and I mean, even in Habakkuk, when Habakkuk like asks questions in chapter 1 about why he's dealing with the pain that he's going through, and just allowing injustices and suffering to happen in his life. And it's just like all of these people have pain in different ways, and sometimes it's extreme and sometimes it's not. But no matter what, the common theme is that they feel as though they've been treated unjustly. But it's also just like God still knows the best route to your life. Like if you are going through pain or anything like that, then God still knows that at the end of the day, whatever you're going through is going to give him more glory, and it's supposed to bring you to where you need to be. And speaking of God's response to all of this frustration, he does remind us that he's near the brokenhearted in Psalms 34:18. He also says that he draws close to our pain, that his timing is perfect. Even though like we may not feel like the timing is perfect, he knows what's best for us in our life. And I think that we need to be reminded of that, even when it seems like all of the walls are closing in and we don't know where to turn, but God knows. And I do think that when you start living a life like that, the devil knows that you're getting closer to him. So he's going to throw in a wrench in your plans to make it harder than it already is to follow Christ in today's society. So we do need to keep that in mind. And, in Isaiah 55, verse 8 and 9, God does invite us to trust into his plan. And the wonderful thing about God is he's going to be a gentleman in every aspect, and he's not going to force himself on us, but he's going to give us the option to choose him and choose his way of whatever that looks like. So some practical tips on how to handle frustration. The one thing that I do for sure is talk to God honestly. I let him know when I'm upset with him. I let him know how I feel, because for one, it gets it off of my chest. And he always says to cast my cares upon him. So that's exactly what I do. I tell him exactly how I feel. I also do try to find ways in which to stay in the word, new creative ways, because I feel like at the time where I'm most frustrated, the same old everyday mundane devotionals just won't work for me. Like, I need to switch it up at that point, because I don't want to just read the Bible haphazardly. Like, I want to study it. And when I'm frustrated, I know that I really need to sit down and hunker into the word instead of just reading a couple of scriptures here and there. I think too, like, just seeking support in your support system is really everything, because like, I know that whenever I text my friend a distress signal, then I know that they're gonna call, because they know that I don't use the bat signal too often. But when I'm just like, hey, like, I really need your prayer in this area, then they know to help a sister out. You know what I'm saying? I'm weak. And as you guys know, that when community comes together and touches and agrees with the next step of your life, then, you know, everything will work out. And I do feel like still not letting everybody pray for you is still a thing. Like, I don't let random people pray for me, because I want to let you know what to pray for me. And I will say, of course, you can put some of the Lord's free will on that. Like, I'm not trying to say like this is exactly what I want you to say, but I'm just like, hey, I am really struggling in this area of being on social media too much. Can you please help me curb that appetite and help me find something God-like to replace that habit with? And so if you see how it's just more in detail of what you're really needing versus like just saying, pray for me because I'm on social media too much. No. I also feel like this may sound really stupid, but just taking a nap. Like, if you just go to sleep, you wake up and you're like, okay. Like, sometimes we just need a nap. And sometimes I'm like, Lord, I just need to rest in your arms. You know what I mean? Like, I don't just need to be asleep, but I need rest right now. And yeah. So a nap would be great. Well, that's the end of this video. And I just want to just remind you that frustration is a part of your journey. And if you're not frustrated sometimes, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're just staying stagnant. And the Lord, you're missing out on a lot of what the Lord has to offer you when you're just being stagnant. So please just be mindful of, your walk, and just stay encouraged with knowing that if you are facing difficult times right now, then just know that you are on the right path, sis, bro. You're on the right path, and it's okay. Okay? And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.